Guys, what's up? We're back. We're back for the next video, as I mentioned. Thank you guys so much for supporting the last video. With, as you guys know, with the Terry my inclusion in Street Fighter 6. So, this video, as I mentioned, is can Capcom versus SNK 3 actually happen? Can it actually happen? And I very much, it all started when 2 years ago, 2022, EVO 2022. When SNK and Capcom promoted the Welcome Back EVO with the crossover characters from KOF, with the crossover characters from Street Fighter. They were in two different pieces of artwork. If you guys remember that artwork, okay? So it all started from there, and then from that point on, it got the fans hyped up. It definitely reassured Capcom and SNK that, hey, we want to see a new entry after 20 plus years because it's been too long. But let's go over some articles why I believe CVS3 might be a possibility. So this one is dated August 30th, 2022. Both sides are interested in reviving an SNK vs. Capcom, says producer. SNK director claims a recent EVO promo reconfirmed fan demand for collaboration, as I mentioned, right? So the producer behind SNK's biggest fighting franchise has claimed that there's interest from all sides in reviving the cult classic SNK vs. Capcom series. The classic crossover fighting game, which sees characters from the King of Fighters duke it with Street Fighter combatants, hasn't seen a proper installment since 2003, partly due to SNK's bankruptcy in the early 2000s and pivot to package slot machines. Yeah, sad times for SNK, but they're doing a lot better now. Capcom released two arcade and console fighting games featuring one-time genre rival in 2000 and in 2001, while SNK released portable games, card game spin-offs, and one arcade fighter during the same era, which was FGC Chaos, SNK vs. Capcom. I'm glad to see that game back, though. Okay, speaking of VGC, Yasuyuki Oda, the producer and designer who has spearheaded SNK's fighting game revival in recent years, he directed King of Fighters 14 and produced Samurai Showdown, plus this year's KOF 15. Has now suggested that a new installment in the crossover series could finally be feasible. Oda referenced collaborated promotional posters that were released in this month's 2022 EVO Fighting Game Tournament, featuring artwork from both SNK and Capcom games. Unsurprisingly, the nostalgic merch was well received by the fans, and Oda told VGC it reconfirmed the public's huge interest and potential to see SNK vs. Capcom revival. Asked if he was interested in creating a new SNK vs. Capcom game, Oda said, definitely in the future. That's something that I think everybody is on all sides, and both parties are interested in making it a reality. Exactly. Then this article was a day after the one that I just read off to you guys. When the SNK project was announced 20 years ago, many within the fighting game community couldn't quite believe it. Right, including myself. Two of the one-on-one fighting genre's biggest rivals teaming up. Surely it wouldn't have happened. Well, it did. And as a result, we got Capcom versus SNK, Capcom versus SNK 2, SNK versus Capcom, Match of Millennium, SNK versus Capcom, the collaborations and stuff like that, and SBC Chaos, which you can now play in English thanks to the translation efforts of the fans, in case naming the convention is confusing. The titles developed by Capcom were named Capcom vs. SNK, while those were made by SNK with reverse names. The two firms haven't worked together on another entry in the Capcom vs. SNK series since the 2006 DS Card Fighters sequel, but it would seem that there's a hunger for that to change if SNK producer Yasuyuki Oda is to be believed. Oda is the creative force behind SNK's recent fighting game revival, and in an interview with VGC, he has dropped the hint that Capcom vs. SNK 3 could potentially happen. Asked by VGC if he was personally interested in making another entry in the series, Oda said, "Definitely in the future. That's something I think everybody has on all sides, and both parties are interested in reality. especially after we saw the reaction to the Evo posters. It helped us reconfirm that this is probably the most wanted things from the fighting game community across the entire world. Right. We haven't really talked in detail with anybody at Capcom about it. Now that's cap, because I really believe that they did talk about it. That's cap, but okay, SNK, okay. Because 2 years later, 2024, fast forward to 2024, Mai and Terry showed up. So they were definitely cooking something behind the scenes after that event in Evo in 2022 with those Evo posters. They were definitely cooking up something. Here we are now, two years later, right? Anyways, we haven't really talked in detail with anybody at Capcom about it. It might have come up as a vague comment. However, we have a lot of experience in crossovers with things like Akuma and Geese in Tekken, Terry Bogard in Fighting EX Layer, and Terry in Smash Brothers, and Baiken in Samurai Showdown. But recently, we haven't actually done anything with Capcom, even on character collaboration stuff. So that poster at Evo, in our sense, was the first step towards maybe something like that happening in the future. Let's see. Street Fighter 6 producer Shuhei Matsumoto shed some more light on the whole matter and revealed that Capcom really wants to make a new crossover games with both Marvel and SNK. Let's see. Here we go. Since the reveal of the upcoming collection with Marvel vs. Capcom, fans have absolutely been clamoring for more details on what could mean for the future of the franchise. Similarly, Terry Bogard and Mai Shiranui being announced as DLC characters in Street Fighter 6 Season 2 has seemingly opened a door for Capcom vs. SNK 3. But is that something that can really happen? Right out of the gate, Dexerto asked Matsumoto in that very question, and the Street Fighter 6 producer obliged. The development team at Capcom has big dreams. Maybe there is an opportunity for the new Marvel vs. Capcom game, but maybe there is opportunity for a new Capcom vs. SNK game. I don't know, but if it were to happen, that would take some time and effort to create these kinds of games. So I definitely believe, does this pave a way for a Capcom vs. SNK 3? I definitely think so, because this is by far one of the most highly requested fan-made games in the past 20 years. In case you guys didn't know, there was supposed to be a Capcom vs. SNK 3 20 years ago. Shortly after the release of CVS 2, a Capcom vs. SNK 3 was hinted at development. There were plans to make it exclusive to PlayStation 2 and keep the 2D assets, but they ended up scrapping the whole project and they wanted to make it 3D. That's a whole different discussion that I'll get into sometime in the maybe in the distant future. That's a whole different discussion I'll talk about sometime. So I personally think that a Capcom vs. SNK 3 is definitely bound to happen, with what happened with the promotional Evo posters, to the re-releases of SVC Chaos, SNK vs. Capcom, that was recently announced around Evo, the promotional artwork between the two companies 2 years ago, and around that same time, SNK re-releasing the Card Fighters games and SVC Chaos Match of the Millennium. All this leads to a Capcom vs. SNK 3. I definitely believe it, and maybe a potentially SVC Chaos 2 to atone for the sins of the first game. I could go on and on and on, but what do you guys think? Could this lead to a CVS 3? Let me know in the comments below. Real quick, I do believe a CVS 3 will not happen. Not until towards the end of the lifespan of Street Fighter 6 and Garou Mark of the Wolf 2. That's my prediction. So let me know what you guys think. But we'll save it. We'll save it for the next topic, guys. All right, guys, take care.